What a beautiful fall day it is out here. It's nice and warm, and it is a perfect time of the year for me to be doing our garden reflections video. Hi everyone, I'm Kristen, and welcome to Mountain Harmony Gardening. Socks is enjoying herself out in the sunshine just like I am making these videos. This is part 2 of our garden review series. Now last week we talked about the raised garden bed, the old raspberry area, and behind the house and what we're going to be doing with that area. Today's episode we're going to be talking about our herb bed, the zucchini bed, and over by the shed we are going to be talking about our shady garden area. So the first spot I want to talk about is here in the herb bed. We expanded this by doubling it this year and putting in the new flower bed, which you could see some of the flowers here underneath the pear tree. And then this is our herb bed here. And then over there, we have more herbs and a lot of flowers. And when we first started out in spring, most of this wasn't here other than this little section of herbs and the pear tree. So we added a lot in spring, and we wanted to bring in more herbs, and we wanted to bring in more pollinators to the garden. I love this area of my garden because it gets a lot of sunshine. Right now it gets way more than it does actually in the summertime. But I really think it was a great idea a few years ago to remove our greenhouse and put in a bed. I get way more use out of it. Also behind me you'll see that we have the bed that runs along the shed, and it is wonderful because I could put all of my shade-loving plants in it. But at the end of the garden, it gets a little bit too shady and nothing grows down there. So I've decided that we're going to change this up a little bit next year, but not a whole lot of changes. So first, we are going to put in more of our shade-loving, like the kale and Swiss chard, some of those things here. We are not going to do the peas. You can see that we took out the trellis behind us because the peas just didn't like it over here. I think it was a little bit too shady for them. But we're going to be extending the shed next year and making it a little bit larger. So we're going to extend this bed out as far as we can. And at that end of the bed, we are actually going to be putting in hostas and other shade-loving perennials. That way, I don't have to worry about that end of the shed. It'll be decorative, but it will grow better than some of the other plants I'm putting in here because the kale and the Swiss chard do like a little bit more sun than our hostas do. So I think that will be a good change. Now in this bed, we've decided that next year we are not going to grow any huckleberries because I still have huckleberries in the freezer from the year before. So I've decided that we're going to make this pretty much a broccoli and zucchini bed. Now, how are you guys growing your zucchinis? If you've seen my previous videos, you'll know that I grow them vertically and it works out really good. But because of all the fires this year that we had, I couldn't come out here as often because there are some days we couldn't even leave the house. It was so smoky and it was very hot. So we couldn't train up the zucchini quite as well as I would have liked this year. So what we're going to do next year is we're still going to train them vertical, but we're going to have cages that Donnie's going to be building, right, Donnie? Yeah. He's nodding, yes. So we're going to put cages around them just to kind of hold up the leaves a little bit better. And we're going to do different spacing on them because the spacing was too close together. A couple of the zucchinis just did not do as well. And I also found that pretty much only 3 plants were producing really well. And that's all the zucchini we needed. So we are going to spread things out a little bit more in this bed. And we're going to pretty much, other than that, leave both of them as they are. Now the herb bed, I think, turned out fantastic this year. The flowers did amazing. If you saw my dahlias, you know that my yellow one got taller than me and everything did really good over there. I'm next year probably just going to add maybe a few more flowers, maybe add some flowers into the back a little bit over here. And I'm also thinking about maybe doing some planters right in front of where the tree is. And you can see the old raspberry trellises over there still. We haven't broken that apart yet, but we will be reusing the wood. So if you have any ideas for what I should kind of put in this empty area over here, it does get a touch shady, but we will be trimming up the tree as well to kind of get rid of some of that. I hope that gave you an idea of what changes we made because we made some pretty big ones in this section of the yard this year and they all did fantastic. I am really happy with the changes that we made. But this area over here, I definitely want some suggestions as to what would you put here? Would you make it a sitting area? Do you like the idea of the pots or the grow bags over there? Or would you plant another perennial bed that is more shade loving over in that section? And if this was your garden, what would you be planting here? Do you do crop rotation? I want to know all of those answers to those questions so that we can get a good conversation going and we can share our tips and our tricks with each other as well. So thanks for watching, everybody, and look forward to next week for we're going to be talking about the other part of the garden that's going to get a very major change. So thanks for watching again. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. Happy gardening, everyone.